Shreya.
Hi.
Okay.
Hello. I can't see you. Can you see me?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay.
Can you hear me though?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, okay, great. This is a glitch that happens sometimes. So, yeah, we will. I think I might come on in a bit or something, but as long as you can hear me, I think we're good.
Yes, I can hear you fine. We
Okay,
can start.
okay, great, great. Okay, cool. Okay, wow, we have a lot of people joining in, so I think we can like get started.
Yeah.
Um, okay, everyone, welcome to Book Talk. It's our first book talk of the year, and we are here with our first book of the year, fresh off the press, Muddy Feet Raya. We are here with the author illustrator, Shreya Pothula. Very excited to have her here to talk to her about this lovely picture book. So, welcome, Shreya. It's so good to have you here.
Hi, it's great to be here also. And I'm honestly so excited about the book. So I'm going to talk about it quite a bit. I should know when to stop.
No, no, don't worry about it. We want to hear you talk. But I think, just to kind of, get started, would you like to say a little bit about the book first, since it is your debut book? So I think maybe you should give the audience a sense of what the book is about.
Okay, so the book is basically, simply put, it's about this little girl who is just a very curious person and she likes looking around quite a bit. And it's about her following the life of a spider in her backyard. And she's lucky enough to kind of have access to somebody who can, immediately like answer her questions and solve her doubts and all of that. And yeah, it's just basically about her witnessing life, but like in another form. So it's just a nice perspective because it comes from a lot of
Yeah.
curiosity. So the idea was to let people also in on that curiosity.
Okay, yeah, no, thank you so much for sharing. And you just shared about it, but I do want to ask, how did you kind of get the idea for this book specifically?
I actually started working on this book when I was in college in my third year.
Okay.
And a lot of the people like around me, like be it like my peers at college or even a few professors, they were quite encouraging about the idea. So I thought, okay, I'd keep this idea and work on it consistently. And initially, it was like black and white sketches with some writing. And when I like fleshed it out further after college, I realized, okay, I want to kind of put this out there. And that's when the idea of turning it into a color book came about. So then I was like recoloring every illustration. And yeah, so it just ended up being a thing that started because I think children's literature is very important, and I remember very vividly the kind of things I read when I was small, and that does stay with me like as an adult as well. Like it influences like what I expect or like my fears or my insecurities, securities to some degree. And I wish I actually read more about spiders when I was
Okay.
small. So it came from there. Yeah,
Okay.
mostly.
Okay, okay, that's interesting. And so the thing is, you've written and you've illustrated the book, which doesn't happen a lot. I mean, yes, we do have a bunch of people who do write and illustrate, but considering this is also your first book, I mean, did you find it challenging that you were writing and illustrating, or was it easier for you to do it this way?
I It was challenging for sure. I think like the writing part got over quicker than the illustration part of things. It took me longer to flesh out the illustrations, and that was actually the more challenging part. But I do think like I still prefer that I was able to do both because I think the visual aspect of it kind of let me steer the story into the direction that I wanted it to go.
Okay.
And yeah, so that kind of helped me. It was a parallel process, like writing and drawing, and then drawing basis the writing, then writing basis the drawing. So it was kind of like that, and that was fun. Because if I only had words to my disposal, I don't think I would have been able to communicate the story
Okay.
as.
Okay. No, because it's fascinating that you did this because I was just curious as to, oh, was it easier for you? But it's the fact that you said, and have you illustrated before? Is this the first time you're,
I've
drawing?
actually not done digital illustrations before. Like I've just done regular illustration and like painting since I was young. But yeah, this was my first shot at it, and I was using like softwares that were pretty new to me.
Okay.
So that was nice. But it was it was good. I think I could have done better in that respect. I look at something better.
Oh, I think Shreya, are you there?
Yeah, are you guys able to see me, hear me?
I Yes, we can. I can hear you. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Yes, I can hear you fine. I'm hoping you can hear me
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I think, yeah, maybe, I don't know if your Wi-Fi is you're a little blurry. Am I blurry to you or am I fine?
You're fine to me.
Okay, okay, cool. Okay,
Okay.
yeah, you're back on. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, great. Okay. So what was I saying? I forgot.
You said you were working with new softwares and this is the first time
Oh
you're doing
yeah,
that.
so I was doing all of that and it was pretty interesting. It took me a while to get a hang of certain things, but it was nice because I think once I got a hang of it, I was enjoying it a lot more, and that was super nice. So yeah, it was something. I think like it was harder to make sure that I was like doing justice to the proper anatomy of the spider as well because it's really easy to kind of move limbs around just because like it's easier to draw.
Yes.
And so that was a little bit hard because I had to also visualize some perspectives that I wasn't able to find images for. And
Yeah.
that was, yeah.
Okay, wow. Okay. So because it's nice that you have this sort of interest with nature, and I think one of the things you've mentioned also obviously in your bio is that you're very curious about how people interact with the natural world.
Yeah.
So was that something also you were very particular about coming across in this book?
Yeah, I think another bigger thing I've noticed is that kids mirror a lot of stuff. So I think like if they would have seen another child like interact with a spider in a way where it was a completely positive interaction and there wasn't that kind of fear, I think the mental barriers in this child also decrease because they're like, okay, this other kid is like so comfortably interacting with this, so why can't I? And I feel like that's the reason why I wanted Raya to be young, so that even younger kids like think of it as something like like it's not like not allowed for you to do because I feel like there was when I was growing up I was not allowed to touch certain things or like be curious about very particular things because like either my grandmother or my aunt would just be like no don't touch that like let it go or something. I didn't want kids like today to kind of have that about any kind of other organism, so that's kind of where it came from. And I also think they're inherently very curious
Yeah.
children, so I think it's like they don't like it's instilled in them. Like it takes a while for I think children to also unlearn certain kind of notions that they have been taught over the years. And I feel like anything you consume as a child stays with you for a very long time. So if you learn that okay, spiders are chill, they're fine, you can actually play with them and it's interesting to know about them. They're actually objectively also very fascinating creatures. So yeah, like I just wanted kids to be able to think, okay, that's normal. It's not something weird for you to go and touch a spider.
Hmm. Yeah. No, so then, what kind of motivated you to specifically write for children? Since you said you are a big believer of, children's literature. So, what kind of inspired you to say that, hey, okay, I want to write for kids?
I think adults are good critics. Like I've had like some kind of privilege to be able to study among pretty good writers when I was in college at Ashoka, and a lot of them gave me very good criticism on my writing as well. But at the same time, I feel like adults are very easily pleased with things. Like they would sit through hour-long lectures and seminars, even if they're not getting much out of it because they just have to. Whereas kids are like harder critics. They'll just say, "Ew, I don't like this," or they'll just be like, "That's really boring," or something like that. And it's your job to kind of fix it. It's your job to make it a better read for them. And I enjoy that because it's a tougher challenge to keep their attention than it is to keep an adult's
Yeah.
attention, at least in my experience.
Yeah. No, no, for sure. I mean, I think we always say this, it's not child's play to write for kids at all by any
Yeah,
means.
like, and there is a worry on every page, like, is this literally going to be the page where they're going to lose their
Yeah.
attention or like if they're going to start feeling like, oh, this is a boring book. And so it's definitely like, I think children read differently from adults, like even adults read differently. So yeah, it's a cool thought.
Yeah, no, definitely. But also, the fact that, this is like sort of a very observational, everyday life story of this spider, this girl interacting with it. Um, was it challenging for you to kind of, I guess, draw kids into a story like this while you were kind of, writing and illustrating it? Because it's not exactly an exciting superhero story like Spider-Man, right? It's a
Yeah.
very everyday sort of thing. So, was that challenging for you? Like, how did you kind of manage that?
I think you're right because I think most times animals become relevant either in pop culture or for kids, be it in movies or in books. It's a very humanized animal. Like,
Mm-hmm.
the kind of, it's to make it relatable, like it's very anthro, like you just have a lot of like human perspective on it, or this human, gets the powers of this particular animal or like the unique abilities of this animal. But the moment you're talking about just the animal in its habitat with its own characteristics and it doesn't have any use to the human, I think people are generally less interested in the animal. But I feel like kids are very, they pay a lot of attention to detail and a lot of attention to something that's a natural wonder. Like, even there's an age in your life when you're very, very young where everything is pretty much a wonder. So, for us as adults to assume that this would not be interesting enough to a child also comes from our own, bias that, okay, I wouldn't find this interesting. But you'd be surprised how many children find insects pretty interesting, or like how many children find like smaller organisms that we don't care so much about pretty cool. So I think I was just banking on the fact that maybe this is something they will find cool because I find it so cool. And little kids that I've told about it have found it cool. So I was just hoping that it would be an interesting enough story for kids to follow. And they are very curious. So that really helps. Like, they do want to get to the end of it and find out what's happening with the spider, for example. So, yeah.
Yeah, but also I like the fact that you kind of brought in like the information very accessibly, like even just pronouncing that spider's name, right? RGOP, Anasuja. I hope I'm saying it correctly.
No, yeah, you are. You
Yeah.
are. It's pretty, yeah, Philip.
Yeah, but
It's
the
easy
fact
to get
that
better.
you've broken it up is, I think, really cool. So, I mean, were you very mindful of making that information also very accessible to kids?
Yes, yes. I was in fact very ready to put a glossary at the end and like, have like a lot of other like FAQs about spiders and all of that answered and just like spellings of larger words because I did another thing that I actually I'm hoping it's okay if I bring it up, but I feel like concepts or like words are deliberately like, dumbed down for children.
Mm.
And like I don't think it's necessary in many cases because children are actually as smart as we let them
Yeah.
be in a very, very particular way. Like if you think of them as knowledgeable enough to get what you're saying to them, they more likely than not actually get it. So it's I actually did I wanted to make sure that even though the age group for the kind of readers I would have might have been, slightly younger kids, I didn't still want to kind of shorten the words and I didn't want to change what the terminology actually is because yeah, I just didn't want to do that from the very beginning. So I ended up having to kind of decide
Yeah.
where it's necessary to break the word down and all of that.
Yeah, no, and it's definitely it's come through really well. Like I said, I think it's very accessible, and you've kind of made it that way as well, which is really nice. I mean, the visuals are also lovely. Which coming to which are some of your favorite spreads in the book? Would you like to show us some of them?
Okay, one second. I I think it's very obvious, but I like this one. Yeah. This is my favorite, like the most favorite because yeah, it has like even when I was really small, I really like those pictures that would go half half and like be a huge picture, and it just made me feel like okay, I'm on one of the special pages. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that in this book. And then the am I still around? Can you still
Yes.
hear me? Okay, cool. I'm just making sure. And this one.
Oh yeah, that's a lovely page too. I love the
Yeah.
leaves, the way you've done them. The leaves.
Same. I wish I could have. In retrospect, honestly, every time I read the book, I want to keep adding more illustrations to it. So it's just an urge on my end, I think. But yeah, I do really like. This is one of my favorite leaves, and then I really like the leaves, even in which like these leaves
Yeah,
in
yeah,
particular.
especially
Yeah.
those.
Yeah. So that's that about the spreads. There are some other pages that I like, but the single illustrations. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
No.
really do like I enjoyed illustrating this
Okay.
one, the baby spiders. It was also a very difficult task, honestly. It was probably the most challenging illustration in the whole book.
Okay.
Yeah. to make the web not dense enough, like, but it's also dense enough for it to look like web. It's really something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I did not realize that.
It was fun though. Yeah.
But no, I think it's visually also it's very bright, colorful, and it really, like, I think, catches your eye and it draws you in, and I think kids will
Yeah.
appreciate it for sure. But yeah, I mean, finally, what are you hoping for readers to take away from Muddy Feet Raya?
That's I really just first hope they enjoy reading it and that they go away learning at least one new thing from the book. And I hope it just in general, like, just increases people's overall interest in insects and in smaller beings because they're all around us and it's really just not fair on some level on our part to just not know enough about them or not be aware at least that they exist in the ways that they do and like the web of life like goes bigger than just human beings and I think that's something I want to be a takeaway. It must be a very deep takeaway but I'm hoping for it. But yeah, and I also just really want like people to observe what's in their own surroundings because there's smaller beings like say beehives you can see around even in apartment, even in urban settlements you can still see them. Then you can see like you can still see spiders very often in shrubs around in apartments and everywhere. So even if you're going to your bus stop every day and you're just like passing the same shrub again and again, you can notice that there's something there and it's going to be there for days to come and you can watch how that process goes. And then you'll have questions about it and then you'll be interested in it and then you can look them up and that's how the interest builds because I do think like watching nature is an activity that teaches a lot.
Yeah.
And like it doesn't matter whether you're bird watching or insect watching, like just it's very interesting to be able to interpret nature in whatever way you do. And yeah, it teaches patience on many levels. It helps you increase your observational like knowledge and it's pretty fun. Like I think even kids like are very fascinated for the most part with little beings. So yeah, I'm hoping that overall there's an increase in this generation's like inclination towards
Yeah.
nature around us and protecting it to whatever degree they can. So yeah.
Yeah. No, and on that lovely note, we've now come to the end of this book talk, our first book talk of 2025. Thank you so much for being here, Shreya. It's absolutely lovely talking to you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And also, to listeners out there, it's also February happens to be Tulika's birthday month as well. So we have tons of events coming up. So stay tuned online and on our social media pages. And of course, don't forget to pick up a copy of Muddy Feet Raya. I'm sure
Yes,
the book will be soon.
please. Please, yeah.
You can pick it up from the Tulika bookstore or our website. So please go ahead and pick up a copy. Thank you so much again, Shreya.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.